Ho ho buddies, once Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and today we're playing Chaos Head. Last time we had a meeting in a abandoned train, or like a weird, a train without wheels kind of put in the middle of a town square as decoration. What would that be called? An installment? We had a meeting with Sina Aoi, who said to us plainly that we can't trust everything that we see. Some kind of Matrix bullshit. Let's jump right in. Let's jump right in. The voices of the DQN couple and the Kogurus were way too loud, so I quickly got out of there while telling them all to go to hell in my head. And here we are again. So yeah, that's how I ended up getting tangled up with an in real life Tuny chick. Okay, asshole. This time you've pissed me off. Oh. Seriously, Lord Neidhart, you're always saying shit like, oh, I don't give a fuck about 3D, but you've been getting real nice and close with a bunch of 3D girls recently, haven't you? You even said earlier that one of them broke into your house. I don't care who you ask. That's straight out of an Eroge. You've plunged straight into your once-in-a-lifetime chance to be popular. Alright, listen well. I'll admit that I've indeed amassed quite the number of opportunities to speak with cute females. However, mental case, what's he about to type? Every single in real life one is a fucking mental case. You try being on the receiving end of their brain-melting Demper attacks. The sheer scale of schizo is legitimately horrifying. Shiver, shiver. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. Oh, don't worry about it. Even after I'd gotten back home, I'd still been somewhat interested in what Sina had told me. Of course, I didn't think that what she'd said was true, but I was pretty sure that I'd be able to confirm it for myself if I did a little bit of research into the patent and the memorandum. Memorandum specifically. Memorandum. So with Grimm's help, I started searching the internet. I also was able to get one of Grimm's friends who lived in America to help us out as well. But even with all that help, I still didn't think we were going to find anything. In this day and age, you couldn't trust anyone without a source. Yo, I just got a message from Shio. Shio was the friend of Grimm that I'd mentioned earlier. He lived in America and spoke fluent English. Let me guess. BS, right? That stupid fucking mental case. She had to have just been making a fool out of me because she didn't think I could understand English. Don't underestimate the power of the internet. Consider yourself pawned. It exists, apparently. It exists. What did? The guy went out of his way to TL it for us. Anyway, let me upload it. Is this just more B8? Bait? I see. Man, you don't trust me at all, do you? Oh, yeah. 1 second. A noisy phone. Although that's probably my fault for being an ass most of the time. Lol lol. Okay then, how about I invite Shouho instead? Could it actually be real? I've been tricked by Grimm several times in the past. If I trusted him like I usually did, he'd hit me with something so bad that it'd make my brain blue screen. But he was saying that he was going to invite Shio, and that he even had a source for us. If this is just you baiting me again, I'll kick you out of the guild. Okay, trust me, just this once. He was being surprisingly confident. Maybe it really was okay to trust him this time. Damn it, I'm such an easy target. Slightly nervous, I squinted my eyes halfway shut to protect myself from seeing anything too quickly or too clearly, and then I clicked the link. Oh, brain imaging technique. What is this? It was a document written in English with a bunch of strange diagrams on the lower half. Part of it looked like a human face. The headline read, United States Patent. I knew that much at least. In other words, this was an actual US patent. Do you know what VR technology is? There have already been successful tests to the point where the research team behind it, have already obtained a patent for it. It was real. I then went to open one of the 2 text files that had come bundled with it. One of them had a series of news articles that seemed to mention the patent, all of which were translated into Japanese. One said that the Psychophysiology Research Laboratory of America's Victor Kondria University was currently researching a groundbreaking invention known as VR visual rebuilding, which is what she'd mentioned. As the goal of the research was primarily for healthcare, it had been gaining the attention of visually impaired people from all over the world. It was groundbreaking technology that enabled people who were blind from birth to see the scenery in front of them through video cameras and other imaging devices. To put it simply, this was done by converting signals, the ones that compose the image data that the video camera received, into the only signal the brain could recognize. Electrical signals known as nerve impulses. These are then transported to the brain via the optic nerve. What could it mean? There had already been successful tests and the patent had already been registered. The patent, it was actually approved. So did that mean what Sinner had said wasn't just some Shuni delusion? I gulped, then went to open the other text file. I began reading. Presidential Documents Memorandum of March 27th, 1997. Memorandum, right? Memorandum. Strengthen protections of human subjects of classified research. The agency shall jointly propose to prohibit waiver of informed consent for classified research, part of it said. Beginning 1 year after the date of this memorandum, no agency shall conduct or support classified human research without having proposed and promulgated the common rule, said another. The document was then signed at the bottom by William J. Clinton and closed with the White House, Washington, March 27th, 1997. A memorandum from the President of the United States. The content sounded like the premise to a movie or something, so I never would have thought it was actually real. I went to check the original document via the URL. Even I could read English for the most part. Despite how I might have looked, I was a lot smarter than those DQNs that went to school every day. The actual contents written in the document were the same as the translated text. Which means... Cena's words echoed in the back of my mind. If it's possible to convert specific information into nerve impulses, wouldn't it be possible to control all 5 of the senses and even the free will to people itself? Of people itself? It was starting to get somewhat difficult to understand at this point, but with what Sinner had told me combined with the sources we found online that backed her up, it all sent chills down my spine. I had a feeling that something terrible was lurking within. But what confused me the most was what Sinner's true intentions were in telling me all this. Did it have anything to do with me? The part about being able to control people's free will definitely wasn't something I could dismiss as somebody else's problem. Because there was the possibility that I was a sleepwalker. On the day of the 3rd Gen incident, the crucifixion, I'd been told that I'd been posting in a chat room as Shogun. Apparently I'd posted for Mac Cafe too, but I had no memory of any of it. And not only that, but I had absolutely no memory of Remy too. We'd been classmates for over a year and we'd been close enough to hang out on a couple of occasions, yet I had no memory of any of it. Maybe I'd done all of those things whilst I was being manipulated by some other being. Besides, I was terrible at talking to 3D girls to begin with, so there was no way I would be close to a cute girl like Remy normally. No. I was thinking too hard about this. At the very least, I knew that the chat thing was just one of Yua's delusions. Shogun was a separate entity from me. He was trying to entrap me, and it didn't go beyond that. This was true regardless of whether or not he had actually been the old man in the wheelchair that had appeared in front of 107. It's so hard to read this on top of this screen as well. I wonder whether there's a way to make it darker underneath the text. That would probably help me. Maybe Sinner too was one of the Shogun's underlings. Maybe she was just trying to deceive me. Don't just blindly accept everything without questioning it. Don't trust a suspicious girl that you don't actually know. Sina and Yua were both of the same breed. That's how it should go, right, Sarah-tan? Oh. Speak of the devil? The only sound present in the room was the distinct clacking of a keyboard. Kusunoki, Yua's thin, supple fingers moved as if they were dancing, her gaze fixed on the monitor all the while. Her touch typing was effortless, and she made next to no typos. Almost like she was a robot. She was writing an email. A very long one at that. Yua had already been writing for almost half an hour, endlessly deliberating over the content of the email and making frequent revisions as she continued to type. Suddenly, her fingers stopped moving. With a small pained sigh, she abruptly pressed and held down the backspace key. The cursor that was lit up on the monitor began scrolling leftward at high speed. All of the long sentences she'd written so far disappeared nearly instantaneously as the cursor travelled across the screen. When all of the contents had been erased, Yua took hold of the Jiro Froggy stuffed animal lying on her bed, then hugged it tightly to her chest. This was a habit that Yua had developed recently. If she did not hug something in this way, she would be faced with unbearable anxiety. Oh, Chris is playing We Harvest the Shadows. Everybody. Burying her chin in the stuffed animal, Yua sighed once again and shook her head softly. Please, give me the courage to do this. Murmuring softly to no one in particular, Yua's expression stiffened. With the stuffed animal resting on her lap, she returned her hands to the keyboard. Within the monitor, each letter she typed in a fluid manner was quickly displayed in sequence. Compared to the one she'd erased just moments before, this email was far more short and simple. It only served to provide the bare necessities of what she needed to convey. Is she messaging us? When she finished writing, Yua hesitated for a moment, and then she resolutely clicked on the send icon. Ah, I sent it. Before she could stop it from going through, the email had already been sent in the blink of an eye. Yua squeezed the Jiro Froggy sitting on her lap tightly, and continued to stare at the monitor in front of her for over an hour. Although she'd not been expecting one, there was no sign of a reply at all. Interesting. There I was, in my beloved room 37. As I sank down into the recliner, I started chewing on my nails in an attempt to distract myself from my irritation. There was a reason why I'd come to At Cafe 2 days in a row yesterday and today. 2 nights ago after Grim, Shio and I had found out that what Sienna had said was true, I'd received an email from Yua. It was me. In it, she'd insolently said that she wanted to talk to me one more time. Fuck off, I wanted to tell her. What the hell did she mean she wanted to talk after deceiving me like that? I had nothing to say to her. Even if I did, she'd probably just come up with some new fancy way to trap me when I went to see her, as if I could risk that. It was true that I wasn't used to talking to girls. That was why I'd been so happy back when Yua was hitting on me. And yet, the harlot had been toying with me behind my back. And on top of that, she'd come up with all those insane delusions. Even I had delusions, sure, but I never bothered anyone else with them. But that girl assaulted me with her schizo BS that treated me like I was the new gen culprit. I can never forgive what she'd done to me. Never. So, I ignored her email. But there'd still been one thing that concerned me. In her email, she'd said she was going to come to my base, and I knew for a fact that she knew my address. That was why I decided to take refuge in At Cafe, despite it not being a school day. But she also knows that you go there, you idiot. If I had the option, I would have brought my D-sword as a protection charm, but unlike Sino, I didn't have the courage to walk around Center Guy with it. At any rate, spending almost half a day in an internet cafe was fairly tiring. The recliners were comfortable, and it was equipped with showers. But I still didn't feel I still couldn't fully relax like I could at my base. And then the biggest problem of all, Saratan wasn't here. After 2 days spent holed up in the cafe, I realised just how much the mere presence of Saratan helped me. I wanted to hurry up and get back to my base as soon as possible. But going back late at night would mean the date would change. And by that time, the last train would already be gone. I figured that you most likely wouldn't be waiting for me anymore by then. I had to stick around for another 4 hours before the clock would strike midnight. I was sure time would go a lot faster if I played ESO. I moved my gaze over to the PC monitor. My second character, Lysolot, was standing there aimlessly, not moving. Is the scenery your eyes perceive truly real? Cena's words came to mind. More than half of what she'd said was true. The only thing I couldn't find a source for was the part where she was talking about controlling even people's wills and bodies. Maybe that part was just a delusion of hers. Mixing in just a few lies with the truth was a clever and effective way to scare people, especially with threats. And conspiracies, actually, even though my reasonable side knew all of that. I couldn't help but feel scared as I thought about all the strange, inexplicable phenomena that had been plaguing me over the last few weeks. In a daze, I looked at Lysolot on the screen. Lysolot, is the scenery your eyes perceive truly real? Keeping my voice low to avoid being overheard, I whispered that absent-mindedly. I thought about something like this several times in the past. The world that I was looking at right now, Baselard, was the world that Lysolot lived in. It might have been real for her, but from my perspective it was fake. Which meant that the world that I lived in was seen as fake from the point of view of the person controlling me. That's me. However, just as Lysolot couldn't perceive me as a higher being, I also couldn't perceive the person controlling me as a higher being. I wondered if Lysolot was thinking the same things that I was thinking. At the very least, she couldn't move on her own. I had to interfere in order for her to move. So what about me? Maybe I too couldn't get up from this recliner without the interference of the person controlling me. To test this, I tried to stand up. I did it with ease. After that, I tried sitting down. It took no effort. But this sequence of events, was it really of my own volition? Or was it the result of someone's interference? I had no way of knowing. Huh? I heard the sound of the partitioned door to the private room being opened behind me. And at the same time I felt someone come in. Startled, I turned around. Of course it is. Kusanagi, Yua! Like, how did you think that she wouldn't find you? I was so terrified that I was about to scream. But Yua's hand quickly covered my mouth. Her hand was hot and the scent of Yua's sweat infiltrated my nose. Be quiet. Don't make a sound. Promise not to make a sound. Will you promise me? You better not say otherwise. Promise me. You'll do it, won't you? She has this habit of repeating the same thing in different ways. Do it, please. Green or red? Green or red? Green or red? Green. In this small private room, the only way out was blocked by Yua. The next thing I knew, my shoulders were being held down with such incredible force I couldn't even get up from my seat. Yua's cold gaze pierced through me at point-blank range. I couldn't help but look away, and my eyes fell on the 3 Jiro froggies attached to the bag she was carrying on her shoulder. Alright? Don't make a sound. Here we go. Is this going to be a good or a good horny? If I didn't do as she said, Yua would kill me. Believing that would happen. I love this music. This is a great song. I didn't resist and just nodded along. There was something I had to tell you, no matter what it took. I like you. I really like you. You understand? I love you. You need to understand. I want you to be mine. Please. I thought that confessions were supposed to be romantic, heartrending, and happy. Oh, but this wasn't like that. I was doing the wrong voice. This was terrifying. Every word was had sent chills down my spine. In a situation like this, I'd normally confess my love as well, but here it felt like I'd been signing my own death sentence if I did. I had no choice but to be clear and refuse. This girl was nothing more than a stalker. If I didn't refuse here and now, I'd be totally fucked. I forcefully shook off Yua's hand. I refuse. I'm gonna hand you over to the police. Huh? Yua's expression became tense as if in shock. She hung her head and her demeanour instantly turned timid. To think you hated me that much. I'm sorry. I'll stay away from you from now on. Goodbye, Nishijoku-kun. She pulled herself away and turned her back to me. Her shoulders drooped. And then she shakily walked out of the private room. I'd said it. I'd said it! Seeing Yua crying like that actually made me feel relieved. I couldn't help but be happy that I'd finally been freed of that stalker, so much so that I unconsciously struck a victory pose. Oh, there she is. Only to suddenly come back to myself. Since life was never that easy, Yua was right in front of me, covering my mouth. Brave you, Nishijoku-kun. She was murmuring something in a quiet whisper. I hadn't heard what she'd said at all. I'd been busy escaping from reality. How nice would it have been if that delusion had been real? With no way for my wish to come true, Yua continued to talk. But please, Please let me say just one thing. I don't want to see you get hurt anymore, nor do I want you to be unhappy. But I also want you to make any more people unhappy. I don't want you to make any more people unhappy either. What was she talking about? She was talking as if she knew everything about me. Despite the fact that we hadn't even spent 24 hours together. Just what the hell did this girl actually know about me? Was this just another one of her signature batshit insane delusions? A shudder ran through me and I started flailing my arms and legs. But even so, Yua didn't let go. If this went on for much longer, this girl might actually kill me. Had Shogun given up on trying to trap me and had just sent Yua as an assassin instead? I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die! I'm sorry, but please, just be quiet. I'm almost done. Don't like the tone of that. The tone of her voice was meek, but the power behind Yua's hands as she held me down was so strong. Even if I tried to resist, she wouldn't budge an inch. I couldn't believe that such slender hands could be so powerful. Nishijoku-kun. Yua inched her face closer and closer to mine. I desperately turned my head away. Please. That was when I noticed. Yua's hands were trembling. Or was it just that my hands were shaking so much it made it look like hers were too? While I pondered that, something unbelievable came out of her mouth. Don't kill anyone anymore. What? You aren't even aware of it, are you? But I understand that too. After all, you've no way of knowing Nishijoku-kun. Knowing? Knowing what? Yua's eyes shone with sorrow. Even though she'd been staring at me intently until now, she suddenly cast her eyes downward. Have DID multiple personalities? I had multiple personalities. At first, I fully intended on turning you over to the police. Despite how confused I was, Yua continued to talk. And if I couldn't do that, I thought I'd try this method instead. But when I investigated you, I found that you were suffering just as much as I was. The eyes behind Yua's glasses once again took hold of me. They pleaded with me. And no matter how hard I tried to see it as something else, I couldn't see her as anything other than genuinely worried about me. And that horrified me. I want to help you. This girl's delusions were getting out of control. What she was saying was totally insane. Or was it? Was it really insane? So, let's go to the hospital. We'll do it together. I didn't truly know myself. Understand myself. I had posted in a chat room under the handle Shogun without knowing it. Oh, I had done, as in, not. The emphasis is I had posted. I had posted. I don't know. Even though I had no memory of it. I'd become friends with a girl named Rimi. It wasn't just me sleepwalking. And it wasn't some higher being controlling me. Maybe the person controlling me from inside my head. Literally was inside my head. I wasn't me. I wasn't me. I was a different personality. I had multiple personalities. My head hurt. A throbbing, stabbing pain ripped from it. That wasn't possible. The entire thing was bullshit. Who would ever believe that? It too was yet another one of Yua's delusions. She was my enemy. She was impeding my way of life. She was trying to trap me. She was trying to destroy my mind. Even the hospital itself was under Shogun's reign. The only person I trusted, Dr. Takashina, had disappeared in such a sudden, inexplicable manner. Shogun must have made him disappear. And if I did what you said, he'd make me disappear too. And I guess we'll find out next time on Borderline Games. If this conspiracy is as deep as it says. Is Yua correct? Are we actually the murderer? Is Yua Shogun? Am I Shogun? Find out next time on, what is it called again? Chaos Head. Have a good evening. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.